We have the Najarian brothers with us, Jon and Pete, co-founders of Market Rebellion, to talk about that. Great to see you guys. Jon, you want to take Tesla first? And we talk about Elon in every context, except for sometimes his businesses. We forget why he's the richest human being on planet Earth, but shareholders obviously not thrilled today. So Europe in particular, they took a hit. What's going on at Tesla?
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. It was a 45% less sales in Tesla vehicles over in Europe. And so a lot of people figured that's because he took his eye off the ball. I think it was kind of a little bit that we've seen electricity prices go through the roof in Europe. A lot of that coming, Connell, because of the ongoing war in Ukraine, Russian gas being cut off and the like. But obviously, some fossil fuels are more popular in Europe because of the cost versus electricity right now. Yeah,
I was wondering, Pete, if there was any blowback to Elon, though, that, like, especially in Europe, where people look at him in association with Trump. But you don't think so?
I don't think that's the factor that's really causing it, but there's a possibility that certainly could. I mean, you can understand that there's a lot of people that are definitely pushing back on Elon and the fact that he's constantly next to Trump, and a lot of people are making memes and jokes about all of this and who's who and in the pew. But yeah, I think when it's all said and done, let's also go all the way back, if we will, on something like Tesla. It's still well off the lows. If you go over the last year or so, it's pretty significantly higher, but it's taken a big hit of late. There's no doubt about it.
All right, let me ask you about one other issue that literally just came up. We were watching the president of the Oval Office. I don't know if you two financial gurus think this is a good idea or not. It might be. The president says, everybody knows what a green card is for immigration. Now there's going to be a gold card. He said it could be called the Trump gold card, but anyway, gold card, okay? $5 million a pop. And this is supposedly to bring more rich folks in who own businesses, and they're going to employ Americans and maybe pay down our debt a little bit in the process. Pete first, then Jon. What do you think, Pete?
Well, it's an amazing thing to even think about it, and it's very creative and all, but it could be something that would be absolutely monstrous for the economy. I'll let Jon get into the depth of that, because he and I were just talking about it, and he had some very good ideas about it. But I can tell you this, I mean, the numbers that Jon was talking about, what could come from this would be absolutely incredible. But is that really the way this thing could really play out?
I don't know.
I'm not so sure.
5 million is a lot if you sell 1 million of them, as the president said. Okay, go ahead, Jon.
Well, yeah, if you sold 1 million of them, it's a ton of money. If you took the 20 million folks that came in illegally and cost the country, even if they're great contributors to the American way of life, if you said, well, what if 20 million people around the world, where we've got nearly 9 billion people, if 20 million wanted to come in and pay $5 million, that would be 100 trillion, Connell. Right. So, I mean, when you look at that, you say, we wipe out the debt.
He thinks you're a lunatic, by the way. He thinks you're out of your mind when you said that. Your brother thinks you're nuts.
Just a little bit, just a little bit.
70 trillion in the bank. I mean, why wouldn't you love that? I do question whether or not he could sell 20 million of those, but a couple million of those for 5 million?
I don't know how many Russian oligarchs are out there anymore, although he says he knows a bunch of them. This is true as well. He says, I know a bunch of Russian oligarchs who are pretty good people. Pete, do you think your brother's crazy?
Just a little, but I've always thought that, Connell, to be honest with you.
I figured, yeah. But no, so this doesn't, like this, is it? We always say it with the president, is he serious? Is this real? Lutnick says it's coming in 2 weeks, but you think it's a real thing, Pete, that we should look at?
I think it's a possibility. I'll just throw it out there, because it seems a little bit, even for Trump, President Trump, it seems like something that's really, really way out there. But we've seen a lot of things that have happened over in just this first month as president again, and there's been a lot of changes. So I wouldn't discount anything from happening. So I think it could be a possibility, but that's still a monstrous number that we're talking about here.
Yeah, no, it is. Go ahead, Jon.
Just to throw it out quickly, I asked ChatGPT, how many millionaires are there worldwide? And it estimated that there are 62 million millionaires worldwide. How many of them would like the protection and safety of the United States if they could get it? That's a question, and I believe that we will soon find out the answer if indeed we offer these cards.
Talking about this administration, you should just ask Grok, because that's Elon's chatbot.
That's what I used also.
ChatGPT. Well, okay, double check your AI always. Thank you, Jon, and thank you, Pete. The brothers Najarian there on the gold cards. So yeah, we'll see how this one all works out over time. Oh wait, do we have bonus time with the two? We were supposed to have. Oh, this is going to be great news. Where do you hear this, guys? We were supposed to have another guest. I said, let me wrap these guys. We only have a couple minutes left. We'll go to the other guest. The other guest isn't there. I get to talk to Jon and Pete for a couple more minutes. What do you guys want to talk about? Bitcoin? Oh, so let's do it. Pete, what's with Bitcoin?
Well,
I thought it was the big. Oh, Jon, there he goes again. You talked already, Jon. This is Pete's turn.
He's crazy,
So,
you know. He's
a little bit, right?
Go first.
So Bitcoin is below 90, right? 90,000. 3-month low, as you see at the bottom of the screen. And this is the big Trump trade. The other day we talked on the show about some Trump trades fading. Is this one of them? What's going on with Bitcoin?
Well, it sure is interesting. I mean, the fact that it was 66,000, let's remember that when he was first elected, and then it started to make this huge run to the upside. So the fact that here today we hit 86,000, that's still up 20,000, but everybody's looking at the short term, the fact that we got over 100,000, expecting it to go to 140,000, and it didn't get there. We pulled back, and that's where we find ourselves now. Can it get back up above 100,000? Absolutely it can. Will it? It might take a little bit of time. I think there's still a lot of back and forth on the opinions for a lot of people on what really is, where does Bitcoin go from here? And I know what Michael Saylor thinks, because Michael Saylor keeps on buying it. So I think he's been pretty smart most of the way up so far.
All right, we only have like a minute left in the show. So why don't you finish this off, Jon, with this comment on Bitcoin, then we got to wrap.
All right, it's all about Bybit. Bybit was an exchange, and we always tell people when they're considering an investment in digital assets, Bitcoin being the biggest, the granddaddy of them all, take it offline. You know, have it in a hardware wallet, have it in a software wallet, pull it offline. These people had it online in Dubai at that exchange. The exchange got hacked. That's why Bitcoin fell. That's why it pulled all the other digital assets down with it. It's one exchange. We will come back strong. I bet Saylor and the rest of these guys are buying right now.
Didn't sound that crazy to me that time, Pete. Thanks you to Jon and Pete Najarian for all the